All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers in tonight's video. 27-14 win last week against the Cleveland Browns, and they're currently 10-3. All right, but they're coming up on a big stretch right now. They have 3 games in 11 days, and the context of that's extremely important because it starts on Sunday on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the best teams in the NFL, but especially the NFC. And then they have another road game against the Baltimore Ravens, who are currently 8-5. Pittsburgh has a 2-game lead. And then on Christmas Day at home, you guys will be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And so it's funny because this is 3 games in 11 days, right? It's a lot. It's a lot of physicality. This is where depth's important. This is where you just literally want to get a win, just a win. But this happens every single season. You know, every single season, there are numerous teams because of Thursday night football, and especially in the month of December with, even Thanksgiving, but, Christmas Eve, blah, 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 where teams just play a lot of football games in a short amount of time. And it's just funny because people are using this as an excuse to say, all right, they're finally taking on Philadelphia, they're taking on Baltimore, and they're taking on Kansas City. That's 3 games in 11 days. First off, they're not physical enough. They're not good enough to win any of those games, but especially a couple of them. And then number 2, we're about to learn a lot about this Steelers team. So first off, 2 things, just to summarize it, because we're kind of rambling here. First off, nobody believes in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And nobody believes that the Pittsburgh Steelers in 11 days can beat 3 good quality playoff teams. I think it's all BS because first off, this happens in the National Football League all the time. For example, my Green Bay Packers just played, I think, 3 games in 12 days, but yada, 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 same thing, tomato, tomato, all right? We're going to rant and ramble in tonight's video, but before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Steelers fans, love and appreciate you guys as always. If you could try and get this video to 200 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So first off, one thing I will just end this argument right here, right now, and hopefully some Steelers fans can agree with this, especially my older Steelers fans. Pittsburgh plays 4 games left. You're 10-3. First off, this isn't my point. The only game that matters is the Baltimore Ravens in 2 weeks. That is literally the only game on the final 4-game schedule that matters because you have a 2-game lead over the Baltimore Ravens, and if you beat them, even if both teams go 3-1, you're winning the division and you have a home playoff game. And that is, as far as I'm concerned, and once again, I'm a Packers fan, so what does my opinion really matter? But for the Steelers, all I really care about is a home playoff game because I think that would be very difficult in the wild card round of the playoffs, no matter who you're playing, to go into Pittsburgh with a team that just won 11 plus games and beat them. A team that hasn't won a playoff game in way too long. I think that would be very difficult. And number 2, this is kind of what I was saying that hopefully my Steelers fans, my older Steelers fans especially, can agree with. The one game on the 4-game stretch remaining that I would be concerned about, and concern's the wrong word because Pittsburgh's 10-3, right? They're making the playoffs. But the division's what matters to me. But anyways, the one game that matters, I'm sure my Steelers fans watching this right now can think of what I'm about to say. It's week 18 against Cincy. It's really as simple as that. There's this weird rhetoric around the Pittsburgh Steelers where, oh my God, they have to play a good football team. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? On the road against one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL and the Philadelphia Eagles, what is Pittsburgh going to do? What are they going to do? Because that game's going to tell us everything we need to know about. The one thing I've learned watching Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers is not to be concerned with a road game against an 11-2 Philadelphia Eagles. It's not a road game on a short week against the Baltimore Ravens. It's not a home matchup on Christmas Day against the team that just won back-to-back Super Bowls. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. If you go back to, first off, we could do this in a year-to-year thing, but even with Kenny Pickett, they were still winning big-time games. They still dominated Baltimore. They still dominated the division with Kenny freaking Pickett as the starting quarterback. You go back to the Steelers' 3 losses on the season. Yeah. Folks, it's at time it's recording Thursday, December 12th. The Steelers have lost 3 games, right? Their most recent one was a road game against the Cleveland Browns with famous Jameis on a short week where just a crazy snowstorm kind of occurred in the second or third quarter. That was your starting quarterback, Russell Wilson. That was his only loss on the season, by the way, because the other two were week 4 and week 5 against the Indianapolis Colts and the Dallas Cowgirls. And Justin Fields was the starting quarterback. And obviously, I'm not ragging on Justin Fields by any means here, but I am just saying the one loss the Steelers have occurred this season or incurred was against the Cleveland Browns. So, no, this team always shows up in big time moments. George Pickens, no George Pickens. I don't really care. I think if this was a playoff game, I would 100,000 billion times care. But this is a road game against Philadelphia Eagles, who, like we said, are one of the worst passing teams in the National Football League. And also, by the way, defensively, the Steelers rank among the league's best in rushing yards. They only give up 91.5 rushing yards per game. They are, I think, the 6th best defense as far as total points allowed at 18.3. And they also have 28 takeaways. And when you flip it even offensively, oh my God, I have to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh no, what am I going to do? Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, even though they keep starting slow, for example, against Cleveland, they were down 7-3 in the first quarter. You go back 2 weeks ago to the Cincinnati Bengals game on the Steelers' first possession. Maybe it was the second, but I think it was their first possession. Russell Wilson threw a pick 6 because of a defensive pass interference call that was not called from Cam Taylor-Britt on George Pickens that resulted in a pick 6, and they still won that game. And I know the final score was like 44-38 or whatever, but I still at no point thought Pittsburgh was going to lose that game. So even despite these slow starts, Pittsburgh's still putting up 25 a game. They also ranked 9th in rushing yards per game at 132 and 2nd in attempts at 438 with Jaylen Warren, Cordell Patterson, and Najee Harris. So yeah, the last thing that worries me, I get it, 3 games in 11 days against some really good Super Bowl caliber teams. Yes, that's difficult. That's not easy, especially on the body. The one game I would be a little bit concerned about is the Kansas City Chiefs game, because like you saw in the in the Browns loss a couple of weeks ago, or at this point it was like a month ago, it was a short week on the road, a game removed from playing the Baltimore Ravens. And as we know, notoriously, that's a very physical game. Divisional games typically are very physical. So the only concern in this 3-game stretch that could make or break this team being contenders, oh no, because Kansas City looks so good. Buffalo looks so good. Baltimore, oh yeah, they look so good, man. I totally believe in the Baltimore Ravens because for some reason, I guess this is the year I believe in them, whatever, would be you play Saturday night in Baltimore and then Wednesday on Christmas morning you play Kansas City. That's the only game I'm concerned about, and it has nothing to do with talent, right? This was not the video I had planned for this, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. And folks, give me your score prediction on Steelers Eagles Sunday afternoon, and we will see you hopefully Sunday afternoon with a victory recap video. That's it for me. Peace.